Hi, it's Dr. Sarah E. Crow here. I know I haven't been on here for a while, and I'm sorry that so many of my videos have had to start out that way. That was never my intention, but things have been crazy all over the world, and so they have been with me as well, and actually crazier than I ever could imagine. I really am going to stress today that your doctor is very important. You need to be able to be comfortable with them, and they need to listen to you, because since the last time I've been here, I didn't just go to that new doctor. I, thank goodness, stood up for myself and left that doctor because he was doing something that was literally killing me, and it seemed like he didn't care. They put out an investigation on him after, and I didn't even ask for it. So that shows me that he either has done really creepy things to other patients before, or they were very concerned about what happened with me. But I will get into that part later, because this video, while I'll talk about my own experiences, is not really meant to be just about me. The main thing I want it to be about is letting you know things that I wish I knew, and that are really pretty obvious if once you get cancer and once you start talking to other people who have cancer, but you're just not told them by anyone. And you really should be able to prepare yourself for your future without having to have all these crazy side effects that you're not told about, that, some doctors tell you about. Some will say they're rare. Some will say, you'll get them, but it's worth it. But most of the time you don't hear about them until you get them. And and a lot of times doctors, it depends. I don't want to put down all doctors by any means, but the problem with any sort of expert or a person very high in their specialization is often they think they know best, and that's it. And they don't you almost have to ask questions in a certain way with certain doctors, and I really hate that. Like, I've had a few good doctors, but I've moved a lot, so I've had many different doctors, and then also I'm not willing to have a bad doctor anymore. The one that I have that I just got put with very recently seems to be very understanding, or actually explain things to me. And because if a doctor can't explain things to me, then I don't want to be working with them. I really don't. Because the thing is, you expect people like oncologists to really know their stuff. I mean, they're dealing with cancer. I mean, and everyone always compliments them, like, oh, you're helping so many people. But the thing is, when it comes to breast cancer, things haven't been improving for us. Like, we hear all the time that they are. In fact, whenever someone at a hospital finds out, usually they don't think I have cancer. They think I'm waiting for someone that has cancer. When they find out I do, they're like, oh, but you're so young, and, well, at least you're young. And I'm like, what? That doesn't work with cancer, especially not stage 4. I'm gonna die before I'm the age of, the person who said, at least you're young. It's like, people really have this disconnect with, if you look healthy and you look young and you don't act like, you're helpless, then they assume that you must not be that bad off. And really, no one just looking at me would probably go, that girl is about to die. But sadly, one of the last things that I found out at my last appointment was that my cancer is getting a lot worse. And while there's no way for anyone to really know how long I'll last, and I have no idea either, but I honestly can feel my body basically falling apart. I'm in a lot more pain than I used to be. And my arm, I've brought up neuropathy and lymphedema before. It's at a point where I can't do anything with it a lot of the time. And I've had times where my hand literally just goes out. And the creepy thing about when your hand goes out, and you don't look like you have a disability or a problem, people will just look at you like, what's wrong with her, and think you're just a prima donna, because I've had some really messed up situations where people refused to help me because they thought I was just basically being a whiny princess. I think that was the actual term that was used by one woman. There's always someone in the end who ends up helping, because overall I think that not everyone just lets people suffer in the middle of a public place. I don't know. Well, I guess a lot of people do, but there are usually good people out there that will end up helping if you really need it. And the truth is, don't expect certain people to be there, though, because you really don't know how people are going to react to you having cancer. Because, I mean, people I thought would never, that I thought would, like, always be there for me, because they always had been before cancer, have actually been the people who have done the cruelest things and have kind of, like, gotten mad at me, it seems like, for changing. And by changing, I guess they mean by, dying. I don't know. I really don't talk about my cancer a lot when I'm around other people, because I try not to make other people feel uncomfortable, but I'm at the point now where I don't care anymore. If there's something to say about it, I will, and the people who care about me will stay, and the people who don't, whatever. The truth is, I'm a strong enough person where, yes, of course, I would like to have friends. Who doesn't? All my life I have. But this cancer journey has been so isolating, and you have to almost give up your personality in most of the support groups, because any questioning or bringing up things that aren't just super happy are pretty much seen as a disruption to the group, and you'll get ostracized. But then you'll have people who'll come up to you in private or private message you and tell you and thank you immensely for being real. I've been thanked so many times for being real. After being completely torn a new a-hole from groups of, really, I was never bullied until I got cancer, and it's by women who are, like, in their 40s to 60s that are the biggest bullies to me. It's, like, really creepy. I never would have thought of it, but I'll make a whole video on that, too, because for some reason people feel like they have free reign on putting down cancer patients, because, well, breast cancer patients specifically, because we get all the money, they say, because of National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But first of all, most of that money is made off of us, not for us. The profits nowhere do not match the progress. In fact, cancer incidence rates have gone up since National Breast Cancer Awareness started. And if you actually look through kind of charities' rubrics of how the money is spent and everything, it's pretty much all awareness. Because are you guys aware that breast cancer exists? It's not awareness of anything that would actually be helpful to you, though. And then there are so many programs that are supposed to help with your emotions, but depending on your personality, if you're like me, you don't like being, like, patronized and, like, talked to like you're a child, and then they give you, like, necklaces or makeovers, but the makeovers, while they're nice, first of all, I don't really care about a makeover. I care about practical things, like, how am I supposed to deal with the financial toxicity of this? You have no idea how expensive cancer is until you have it. And then all my, I've lost everything that mattered to me, and I'm probably going to die in a year. My oncologists were wrong before, so maybe they'll be wrong again. But this time, I'm actually feeling really bad. So, and it's in my lungs. It's really hard for me to like go up steps and things now without being out of breath, especially with a mask on, you know. God, I mean, I chose the worst time to die, didn't I? Anyway, I need to stop just blabbing on and tell you a little bit about the side effects that you may have during treatment, but especially the ones that tend to stay or get worse, because people often think that, oh, once I go through my treatments, everything goes back to normal. No. What's weird is, like, right now with the current crisis, I hear new normal all the time. The first time I heard new normal used about the, currency issue, that's not cancer. I can't say the word on this channel because then I'll be shadow banned and have something under it just by the algorithm. So I'll probably use my gong or something next time and just hit it instead of saying the word. I don't know. I wish that there was another platform that just allowed you to say whatever word you needed to, but apparently not. Anyway, so there are quite a few side effects that, unless you have a really good social worker or a really good oncologist, and there are some, there really are, you're probably not going to find out until you have it. And one thing that I'm going to go ahead and just straight up tell you is oncologists do not like it when you try to say that your treatment is the problem. They come up with the weirdest excuses. It's like they suddenly lose all of their rationality and start giving you anecdotal advice like you're some really dumb, like, 5-year-old. Like, they really don't respect your intelligence at all, unless you, and then if you show you're intelligent, they get mad at you. It's really, it's frustrating. And the thing is, they're not held accountable for anything either, because at stage 4, they know I'm going to die, and that's why, and most doctors don't go, oh, well then I don't have to worry about, if you die or not. But like I said, I recently went through a situation where someone was being investigated because I would have died if I didn't leave the hospital. He literally took away my cancer medication because of the most insane reason I've ever heard, then did some very weird, creepy, inappropriate touching, and said the weirdest things, and called in my pain medication to the pharmacy. They called me, and then by the exact time that I got to the pharmacy, he had called in and canceled it. Even the pharmacists were just beyond themselves. They were like, that has never happened before. Because, yeah, most oncologists aren't evil, but I really genuinely believe the last one I had was. And I'm so glad that I stood up for myself. And when I said, if you need a doctor shop and your first one isn't good and your second one isn't good, keep on going, because it's not worth it to be with a doctor who won't let you ask questions and who doesn't respect you. And especially if they take away all your medications because of some weird vendetta. Like, it's basically because I didn't do, there's a few videos back where I talk about how I was considering a clinical trial. I found out that you had to be off of all medications for 2 weeks. And since my cancer had spread exactly at that time, I wasn't willing to do that. And ever since then, this doctor has really had a power struggle with me. And anytime I ask questions, basically I had really bad nausea and was throwing up every single day for like 3 weeks right after I started the treatment he put me on. So I told him, because you're always supposed to tell your doctor, right? Well, usually you should, but if you have a doctor who is actually evil, I'm sorry, none of this is even exaggeration, because believe me, the one thing that I care about most is radical honesty, and I don't see it enough, and so I'm going to be radically honest with everyone. I don't care if it's not appropriate for whatever reason, like if I'm not the model patient, because I'm not a model patient. I'm a person who happens to have cancer and wants to do the most that I can so I can stay alive. I don't care about getting a pat on the head, and I don't think that virtue signaling is a virtue. So, yeah. But thank God I have it seems like a good doctor now. We'll find out though. I also start doing physical therapy 3 times a week, I believe, starting really soon, basically all the months of January. I really don't have high hopes for it because of past experiences, but I'm still gonna go. I'm still gonna try because my arm really, I don't. It's embarrassing. I'm not gonna lift my arm up and show you because, well, maybe I should. It's almost twice as big. Like, I can hardly even lift it. This one versus this, like, those look like arms from 2 different people. And it's actually worse if you measure it, because when it was measured, it was just like, wow, that's like 17 inches more than the other arm. Like, so like it looks like I have an encephalitis or something. It's crazy. But it's because of issues that I really should have been told of, but I'll explain with you. Now, I realized how long this has gotten, and I wanted to go through a lot, so I think the best thing for me to do right now is to probably end this video, but to make it kind of a part 1, and to go ahead and get into some of the side effects that you probably won't really hear about unless you have them, and the thing is, a lot of people end up having them. And then I also want to compare reality of those to literature that you'll receive if you go to these places, because you go to the hospital, you go to different this cancer support communities, and they have literature there, and you think, oh, well, surely this is going to be helpful, right? Well, guess what? Depends on what you mean by helpful, I guess, because